Battersea, and then it wasn't gentrified, it was a working class estate. I was the only brown kid on the block. You can imagine I felt as if I had been dropped from outer space. I stood out like a sore thumb. And of course at school I got called a lot of racist names, woggy, darky, blackie, nigger, whatever, and I just had nobody to talk to about it, because at that time you weren't here and I was doing this all on my own. And I think there was one chance meeting on Clapham Common in 1957, which I tell you changed my life. And I just want to read a little bit from my book, just to give you a flavour of what it was like for me. It was November, it was really foggy, it was cold, it was damp. I'd just been playing on the swings, and this is the momentous meeting that I had. In the foggy half-light, I can just about make up a family group moving slowly across the grass ahead of us. As we get nearer, I can see they're wearing the strangest clothes. Long robes and trousers, glimpses of red, gold and blue, with short jackets and scarves and hats to keep out the late autumn chill. The woman is wearing a green and gold scarf around her head, like a turban. They stand out in the fast fading light, like a flock of brightly coloured birds. And the smallest bird breaks away from the group, and she runs towards me, a little girl, the same age as me, about 4 years old. And she has dark skin and black fuzzy hair like mine. We stop and stare at each other, spellbound, rooted to the spot. A sudden shock of connection, of recognition. I know you. Kumba, Kumba. I think it was Kumba they called her, something like that. Kumba ran off to join her family, and they move off across the common and out of sight. It all happened so quickly, I can't quite believe what I've just seen. I try to run after her, but Auntie Belinda holds me back. We have to go home now, she coaxes. Your mum will be back from work soon, and it's getting dark. Nan will have tea ready. Tea time. It always interrupts something really, really important, just at the wrong moment. I have stumbled on a secret. I'm not the only one. There are others, people who look like me. And more than that, coloured people sometimes come in whole families. Who knew? Mum, dad and kids, not just one-offs like me. I feel strange, excited, scared, shocked, all at the same time, but somehow comforted. So this incident, this meeting with somebody like looking in a mirror, it set up in me, aged only 4 years old, a deep sense of justice and wanting to belong. And that's carried me all the way through my life and made me into a 4-year-old activist. And I wrote my book, The Space Between Black and White, about mixed race identity, because I don't know if you know this, but mixed race is the fastest growing ethnic minority in the UK. There's millions of us now, 2.5 million to be exact, or probably more. And I wanted to shed new depth and light on this issue, because we're often sort of dismissed as like identity politics or whatever. But I wanted, through my personal story, to show you people that it is complicated being mixed race. My story takes you across Latin America, Europe, Africa, Asia. I'm traveling to all different parts of the world and seeing how what people make of my identity and what people make of me, and how I struggled in all those different areas. And I explain how this story's got a happy ending, that eventually I went to Ghana, met my dad for the first time in my 30s, and now I'm queen of my village in Ghana. So you can tell this is not a theoretical book. It's a story. We've all got stories. We all need more stories. And you know, only 8% of all books published in the UK are written by black or authors of colour, and or have even any black characters in them. This is not good enough. And recently, I've been one of 100 writers, like Renee Edo-Lodge and Esua Hirsch, and our very own Bernardine Avaristo, and hundreds more writers. We have taken on the white publishing industry and said, you are not publishing our books. We got loads of fantastic stories, human stories. We need these books for ourselves and for our children. So you lot better get writing, because we need more, absolutely more. Now, I've been an activist all my life, fighting for change. I was one of the first black student leaders in the 70s. I've been in the forefront of the women's movement, the anti-apartheid movement, and I've been one of the first volunteers, black volunteers sent to Africa in the 70s. So I've been in the forefront of the struggle all my life, and I can tell you things do change. I've witnessed a lot of turning points. I never dreamed that the apartheid regime would come to an end in my lifetime. But one of the proudest moments was for me to see Mandela walk free and become president of South Africa. So things do change, and I've been fighting all my life for justice, but I can tell you this feels different. This really does feel like we're on a turning point, we're on a tipping point, and if we keep going, we will win. COVID has exposed the racism, sexism, and inequality, not just in institutions, but in the whole world system, the whole world global capitalist system, which does nobody any good except a very small minority of people. And we've got huge demonstrations in America and around the world because of the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. So that has been a huge upsurge in the middle of a global pandemic. Who'd have thought, yeah? And as our MP said before this, people of colour dying in much greater numbers on the front line of NHS while they're saving our lives. All these things have come together to tell us a big story. This changes everything, and everything must change. Every single one of you, wherever you are, wherever you live, whatever you do for a living, go in there and challenge it and say, this is not enough. We need equality. We need an end to racism. We need change. We're coming together, black, white, people of colour, to challenge racism and white supremacy all over the world. We're not alone. So now there's lots of people who look like me on the Commons in South London, I'm very pleased to say, only they are a lot younger than me. At least they look a lot younger than me anyway. So this was completely different from when I was a child, but mine is a human story. We've all of us been in the space between black and white at some time or other in our lives, when we don't quite fit, we don't know what to do, we don't know what to say. And I hope that my book is going to help us have some of those conversations about race, about equality, and about justice. And I'm looking at all of you and thinking, I wonder what my 4-year-old would have made of all of you sitting here, supporting, talking, being in solidarity. I think she would have thought, fantastic, at last I am not the only one. There's more of us. And she'd say, thank God, I've got mates. Black lives, mates. Black lives matter. Thank you.
Esuantsiwa Jane Goldsmith, everyone. This wonderful woman is doing a book signing. The excerpt we heard, I need to know the rest of it. So if anyone wants to get a copy, please see her at the